And today I'm going to do something real simple for the beginners. This is something that new turners, one of the first projects that they should make. And that is a mallet. So, let me switch cameras here.
Morning, Saul.
Good morning. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I missed all of you guys.
Have you had your coffee yet, Saul? You look like you might need a cup of coffee there.
I had my coffee at 5:30 in the morning.
Ooh.
Did your daughter make it for you?
No, but if I give her one of those mallets, she'll find another way to wake me up.
There you go. So did you ever make one of these yet?
No. I opted to buy a fancy schmancy one.
That's right. Right.
I've actually never had the right piece to make a mallet with of wood.
Well, you had the right piece.
Same here.
Another piece. So what you want to do, obviously, is make it out of a pretty hard piece of wood. This one is made from Bolnesia, also called Mira wood, which is very hard, very heavy, dense wood, very pretty wood. This one, the first one I made, is made out of Australian pine, which is also pretty darn hard. Kind of hard to work with. Got to sharpen your tools a lot. Not as heavy, not as hard as Bolnesia. Today, the one we're going to make is out of a chunk of IPE, however you want to say it, IPE, which is pretty darn hard. So I came across this piece. I think Joe Self gave this to me. Somebody down the street from him was building a deck out of this stuff, and they had some pieces left over. So I ended up with this nice little piece here. So I figured that'd be perfect to make another mallet out of.
Oh, spotlight yourself.
Good idea. Thank you.
And Sal, I have Australian pine if you want some Australian pine to make yourself a mallet.
I will not say no to wood. So yeah, I'll take it. I'll buy it. Whatever is the most respectful thing for me to do.
Take it.
Take it. Take it. So
It just makes more space for me to put more wood.
I will take if you need to make a lot of space, I'll take anything you want.
So we'll start obviously by making a center. Mark, and this is going to be done between centers. Okay, close enough. And we'll use our spring-loaded center punch, or you could use that fancy scratch awl that y'all made after the last demo. Now, obviously, you don't have to use a nice milled square piece of lumber to do this. You can use any and just get a hunk of limb or whatever. If you're going to use Australian pine or any kind of limbs or whatever, try and get a piece without the pith in it. the Australian pine one, I don't know if you can see it, because it's pretty beat up, but right along here, this thing just split wide open one day, came apart. So I, being the frugal person that I am, and not having any wood, you know, to make another one, I glued it back together with some Gorilla Glue in there, and then just put hose clamps around it to hold it until it set up, and then just returned it a little bit. So and you know, the reason we need our mallet is so that we can put our drive center in without mushrooming over the end of the drive center. Get that good tight in there to lock our tailstock. Switch to a longer tail rest. That up.
You got something going over all over the wall. Big screen.
Can.
Having a banjo concert.
I'm gonna catch y'all later. All right, Jimmy. Thank you for coming. Oh, no. Couple of days, you be back. Isn't that true? Sure.
Jack, can you mute?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Get our dust mask and glasses on. And round this thing down. With a spindle roughing gouge. That is some interesting wood. I don't know if you can see that yellow powder that comes off of there. And I'm actually starting with a block of wood, a little over 9 inches long, and about 3.5, 4 inches in diameter. Is a good size. You know, you can make them whatever size you want. You know, you need to take into account enough room, you know, for a handle to fit your hand and a decent size head to do. So, close up, move up a little bit. All right, I'm bringing my speed up now. I'm about 1,300. That was when I started. I was going about 7. Over here, turn this fan on. Little candle wax on the tool rest to make the tool slide easier. Okay, we are around. So, basically what we're going to do is trying to figure out what we want to do here. So, make some marks. Now we just go ahead and remove a lot of this excess material. I'm going to switch to a little bit smaller gouge.
it up so it sees me. If you
I think it's.
There you go. Got me.
Hold on.
So get your basic shape. And if you haven't made one, so you don't have anything to gauge by, of course, stop and go ahead and grab it. Make it to fit your hand. Okay, obviously this is kind of too much fat. So I'm gonna take it down a little more. And I'm gonna switch to a spindle, regular spindle gouge instead of the roughing gouge. See how sharp this is. Get my tool rack up a little closer. And again, I know that guys that have been doing this for a while know this, but for the new people, you want to cut downhill when you're cutting and grade. But this piece of wood, of course, the grain is running this way.
Click the speaker, I think, or something.
Okay,
Good.
it's there now. Okay,
Okay, I'm gonna send you, you can close out if you want. I'll send you the video link from Lucas, and at 11:30 we can log on to it.
okay.
And we can put it right there. If it just sees me, I don't want it to see Bob.
You can also use a bowl gouge if you want. Have to approach it a little differently. This would also be good cue practice. But I'm not going to pick that up. Because I need a lot of cue practice. So I'll do that off camera. So you guys won't be laughing at me too much. So. Feels about right. So come down here. Now you can make the head of this thing you can make it perfectly straight. You can taper it down that way. I've seen some guys that have them actually round like a ball. I'm not sure why, but so I'm just going to make this slightly tapered. You can see that. What I'm doing is I'm coming around the end. You want to kind of round over your top, obviously. And then clean off your end. And as you're coming in, you want to either make it flat across the top or slightly dish it to where the outside is a little bit proud of the center. That way. It'll stand up without falling clean that up a little bit.
I guess it's zooming wireless. Yeah. Yes.
Clean this up just a hair. That feels pretty good. So. Got our good shape here. Now, get tool wraps out of the way. Go ahead and hit that with some sandpaper. Drop your speed. Sanding. And your lathe has reverse. You know, if you run it in reverse when you're sanding on top, makes it a little easier. I'm just using 220 paper here, but you get I mean, your tools are sharp. You got good wood. Depending on the wood, you can get a pretty good finish right off the tool. And of course, this is a utility piece. It's going to get beat up anyway. So, you know, unless you want to make some of these out of fancy wood for decoration. So. And on something like this, I just put a little, you can put some linseed oil or Howard. I wouldn't bother putting anything like polyurethane on it because it's just going to flake off. You know, the polyurethane is what do they call it? A film finish.
It's a surface finish.
What's that?
It's a surface finish.
Yeah, for surface finish, a film finish, which is, you know, it doesn't penetrate like the oil does, where the oil penetrates, and you just give it a spritz of mineral spirits and get all the stuff off of it. Paper towel here.
a safety note. Notice that he's using a paper towel and
Yeah.
not a rag, and he's
Yes.
not wrapping it around his hand or fingers.
Yeah, you know, rags can be very dangerous, especially if they've got any loose strings to them. You know, string gets wrapped around that thing, wrapped around your finger, it'll pull you in. It can cut your finger off. It can pull you in. It can really hurt you. So you got to really be careful. You know, if I was going to do anything with a piece of cloth, it would be a very small patch, square patch of cloth, or round patch of cloth. So,
Yeah, and another safety note that I do, depending on the type of finish you're using, I take the rags out and hang them on a fence with paper, you know, a clothespin or something, and let them dry. That way the spontaneous combustion doesn't happen.
oh no, I thought you were supposed to put them in a pile with the shavings
Right.
over the corner of the shop.
I do the same thing, except I do it with the paper towels. I don't just do it with the rags.
I do it with paper towels, everything. Anything I put finish on is hanging out on the fence until it dries and then throw it away.
You guys don't put it next to the highly flammable stuff?
Yeah,
No.
I
Just
put
making
it on
sure.
top of the shavings loosely.
yeah, like
Oh.
nice big pile of shavings.
I put it in one of those cocktails, you know, the Molotov ones.
Okay. So when the monitors are reviewing these videos, they're going to be coming after you. So we'll put a little linseed oil mixture on there. And I keep
Ralph,
it in
can
a
you
jar.
pull it back a little bit so they can see the whole thing? That looks nice.
Oh my.
What's that?
This is linseed oil and mineral spirits mix, about 50-50.
Then what did you put first?
Pardon?
Before you had, what did you put?
Oh, I just sprayed it with some regular mineral spirits just to get all the sanding dust off of it.
Oh, okay. Okay. How long is the mallet, total long of the mallet?
How long?
Yes.
About
Do you
9
think?
inches.
9 inches. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
about. Yep, 9 inches, a little over 9 inches. About 3.5, little 3.5, little under in diameter. And then of course the handle to fit your hand. So,
Okay.
and cardboard under it when you're putting finish on, so you don't have it slopped all over the bed of the lathe. Let that soak in a while, and you know, let it soak in, and you know, hit it several times if you want. Hit it with some paste wax. Polish it up a little bit just to make it pretty for until you start using it. And of course, the ends where you've got the live center indentation and the drive center indentation. Need some little sanding by hand, you know, with a sanding disc in a drill or something. I suppose if you wanted to, you could put a little recess in the drive end when you started, and just use a friction drive. That way you wouldn't have to worry about any marks from the drive center. You know, several ways you can do it. You know, you could put a tenon on it if you wanted and hold it with a chuck and then just part it off, you know, and then you'd have a smooth end. You know, it just depends on how much, you know, what you're going to do with it, if you're actually going to use it or if you're just using it for decoration. And how much, you know, how well you want to finish it off. Must be losing my
Now
mind.
think of a variation. If you look at the silhouette, if you think of a variation, if you turn that straight up, it could be similar to a vase that you maybe put a glass tube in or a weed pot. If you extend it and double handle it, now you got a rolling pin. So think of
There you
different
go.
variations of projects.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, I have a variation of that. Since we're talking about mallets, I made this one. This is it's 8 inches long and it's 5 inches across. But what I did is I drilled out the inside and cut the interior like a bowl. Then I filled it with lead to make it a door stop. So stick that by the door, and it's
okay.
heavy enough. So it's wide enough and heavy enough to keep a door open. So mallet shaped, but door stop.
Hey, Brian, I heard lead could lead to acting crazy.
Yeah.
Does that explain it?
Yes, it does.
Where did you hear that rumor?
I don't know. Me and my Mad Hatters, you know.
Hey,
Also, Saul, you should probably not make one of these door stops, or could be used
No.
could be used against you. It's an attractive nuisance for young ones.
Yeah.
They'd be beaten on the walls.
you also use it for a horse anchor. Put an eye in it and a leather strap. And that way, if you don't have a hitching post to tie your horse to, you just tie it up to his bridle and drop it on the ground, and then he'll stay right there.
How many horses do you have, Ralph?
None right now.
But there seems to be a lot of manure around the shop.
So obviously this isn't dry, but I'm just going to go ahead and wipe this down now. Take it off so you kind of look at it. But go ahead and spin it up.
And this type of project is like tape measures. If you make a bunch of them, whenever you need one, you still won't be able to find it in the shop. So make a bunch of them.
Yeah, another good piece of wood to probably make this out of is maybe some kumaru. And I'm not sure if you guys know this. I think we brought it up in the past that you know, if you're going to be using it, you want it made out of hardwood. If you're using it for decoration, make it out of anything you want. It's pretty. The pink tababuya tree that we see a lot of down here, if I'm correct, is actually a member of the Ipe family. That stands. So, you know, you could sand this out if you wanted. Sand that out if you want. You know, this one I can go in closer and dish it out more with a real fine spindle gouge. This one you don't want to get in too close and hit those spurs with your gouge. So, but that's basically the project for the day.
Beautiful.
I don't know how much this weighs. It's pretty hefty. You know, that's heavy wood. Actually, I think it might be it's bigger. So
If you want to get a little more complicated, I don't know if you can see this. I'll have to see where my camera is. Anyway, this is a two-piece mallet that I made. I don't know if you can see the end here. I turned almost like a dowel with the handle and then drilled a hole and
Hold
used
it
the
up a little bit
wedge.
higher, David.
Is that better?
Yep.
hold on. Let me go ahead and take the spotlight over here and there. Go ahead, David.
Oh, okay. If you can see it, it's a two-piece cut here. This is the handle that goes all the way through. You can see the dowel kind of, you know, that's solid all the way through. And then I split it with a wedge and then turned the mallet head so that I got a little bit heavier. It's a little bit more complicated, but it's a little bit fun too.
Yeah, you could actually take a nice fancy piece of wood for the handle and then use something harder for the actual mallet.
Right.
You know, use two different species of wood.
Now I saw one of the guys actually on YouTube thread the handle and the mallet head and screw it in. But again, I didn't do that. I took the simple with a wedge and split it and just wedged it in there.
That's glued in, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So,
Back to you, Ralph. Yeah.
okay. Well, I guess that's pretty much it for the demo part. You know, just a simple project. Like I said, it would be good SKU practice. So
Great job, Ralph. Good project.
So
Very nice.
I enjoyed that.
Me too.
Ralph.
Yep.
It gives me something to think about.
yeah, that'd be a good project for you.
Yep.
And if you wanted, you could drill a hole here at the end and stick a candle in it. Or you could, like Dave said, you can make a wheat pot out of it. I ain't gonna say what kind of wheat, but
You could drill a hole and screw a nice like how to say is like oh my god, come parafuso that screw something nice there at the end.
screw.
Are you looking to hang it up? You could use a screw eye if that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Just remember, you buy all these nice expensive tools that are made out of metal. It's always better to use a mallet that's a softer material so that you don't cup the metal and have to, regrind them or take care of them. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
make a bunch of mallets, use them, and protect your tools.
Okay. No.
Anybody got any turnings they've made making they want to share?
have two.
Or spheres?
More spheres, a wild tamarin sphere.
Are you doing those by hand?
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, even I use a jig, but even with a jig, still have to do it. 90% of it by hand. Takes too long if you try to have a jig do it all. So.
Oh, did you bought a jig?
Yeah, I bought that chefware kits jig, the one that goes over the top.
Okay.
So,
how do you like it?
Yeah, it works pretty good. Cuts real well, and you can use a regular cutter or carbide cutter to cut resin. Although I haven't cut any resin since I haven't made anything in resin yet.
Right.
So that's and then I made this Norfolk Island pine vase with a tongue oil finish. So
nice. How hollow is it?
It's hollow all the way through. So it's 8 inches deep. So
Longer than that.
So
I got a bowl.
oh, that's a nice one.
That's a 15-inch. That's the nicest piece of mahogany that I've been able to find. Didn't have any cracks in it.
Nice.
Very
Very
nice.
beautiful.
Looks
Can I
great.
say something that's not wood turning, Ralph?
I suppose.
This curve, this was the hardest thing I've ever made, this chair. That
Wow.
Wow.
every piece is laminated so that usually 8 or 12 pieces of mahogany to make all those things. And that's taking me a year to make.
Wow, it looks great though.
Nice. Good job. Good job.
And it's comfortable. That's the idea with the curves both ways, that it's comfortable. And of course, the table the bowl's sitting on, I made too.
You made
Wow.
that table, that's great.
So anybody got anything else?
Yeah, I've got a couple projects to kind of show you. When you're in your shop or you're running around and you don't have enough time, you always have enough time to turn an egg. And what I've done is roughed out a bunch of eggs and, juggle, but I've got a dozen eggs that I've been turning and playing around with. And what I do is I pre-cut the blanks and have them ready or available. This is a bizarre one. This is a piece of landscape timber. Nothing more than just old piece of rotten landscape timber. And it really just has a nice grain to it. But then we've got some other, this is Paduke, Chinaberry, and I forget which one this is. But anyway, what I do is I cut up a bunch of blanks and have them ready. And on a day that I'm just busy and running around, I can go out and put on a blank and turn an egg in, 5, 10, 20 minutes. And at least I can say I turned something that day.
Now, Be truthful, David.
Nice.
You know that those weren't really eggs. Those were you trying to make spheres.
You mean they're not round?
No, they're not round.
AAW's put out yesterday an article on making eggs.
Oh, did they?
Yep.
Say that again?
AAW put out an article on making eggs.
Yes, they did recently. But I was doing this before. By the way, I also rigged up, I've got a little 1.5 inch or 2 inch vacuum chuck that now I've rigged up so I can just stick it in the vacuum and turn the ends. But I've played with different ways.
The ends up.
Say it again?
Finish up the ends.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you dimension that? Is it, are you
The-
going off a regular egg?
The best way to do it when you get started is to take an egg and put it by your lathe so you can kind of get a visual. I don't measure anything. I do it all by, roughing it out. But it's difficult once you start doing them, you get the dimensions, you start looking at them and you get the right idea. But the easiest way when you first start is to lay an egg on somewhere so you can see it. And because the curves, it's complex curves on an egg and they're different. And then you get a duck egg, you get a chicken egg, you get a goose egg. I don't know if you remember Kaz Gabrowski, he was an embryologist. He used to get all these different eggs. And one time he even did an ostrich egg.
That hard boiled or
Nice.
soft boiled egg?
Always don't cook them. That way, when you hit them the wrong way, it gets goo all over the lathe.
Well,
So
Are
you're
you
making a
getting ready?
bunch for Easter?
I thought about that. But they're just, if you, again, make yourself a nice bowl. And then as you have these different woods, turn an egg, throw it in there. And I guarantee you, everybody who comes to your house will walk over and start picking up the eggs and playing with them.
Yeah, that's true.
You can also drill them and make them into shakers.
Shakers, or they also have kits for kaleidoscopes. If you drill them, I think Craft Supplies has a kaleidoscope, you can look at. But I just, in the old days, they used to have darning eggs. And for those not old enough, you'd slide this into a sock, and that way they'd sew up or darn the sock that had a hole in it.
Wait, I didn't catch that. Wait, what is that?
It's called a darning egg. And years ago, before you threw away your sock that had a hole in it from your big toe, you'd actually sew that up. And what they would, the people who would sew it, they'd slide this into the sock to give it some firmness, and they would just darn the egg. Darning is sewing it up.
That would help
you know
hold
how
the
to
shape.
do that, David?
Do I know how to do that? Yeah, I've done it once or twice.
Good. I got some socks with some holes in them. I'll send them to you.
No, now you use the socks to wrap up your wood turning projects. There,
Well, I do. I I use socks to put my boxes in.
boxes or bottle stops or
Yeah.
What do you guys do to your socks where you get holes in them so frequently?
Not frequent.
Well, I
Wear
mean,
'em,
frequent enough to
Sal.
make
We
an
wear 'em.
egg to put in the sock and sew it.
that was back when socks were expensive.
Wait, you only bought one pair a year and you got it on Christmas?
Yeah, socks and underwear for Christmas.
Nice.
Okay. Never mind. No.
It's for the over 60 crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I'm
Yeah.
grateful you're not turning those into sock puppets and giving them to kids.
Well, you could do that too.
To a sock that you've worn a hole into?
Hey,
That's
we used to, in Florida, we used to walk 5 miles through the snow to school every day.
Uphill
Uphill.
both ways. Uphill both ways.
Well, I mean, look, if Texas is any sign of the future, we may be there soon.
Poor people, yes. Oh, boy.
Or it's terrible what's happening.
The worst part is after any of the big storms that we've had here, you can't get help. So those poor people have to fix pipes and everything else like that. It's going to take a year to get plumbers out there to fix all the pipes.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a post about a guy saying like, I don't know anything about plumbing. Who can help me, teach me? And he got a lot of support. He got a lot of people sending him pictures and instructions on how to fix a pipe. And the guy ended up fixing his pipe, which was great.
Oh,
Guys, somebody wanted to visit.
oh, look who's
Say
here.
hi. Hi, Gordita. Say hi.
Hi.
Say hello.
Hi. Hello. Gosh, she's so cute.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
How
How
old
old
now?
is she now?
She's 1 year and 2 months.
Ah,
She learned a very important thing yesterday. She went, caca.
she's small.
Right, Gordita?
Is she walking already? No.
Oh, she started walking at like 9 months.
Wow.
Now she's walking, climbing, everything.
Now I can understand why you're not showing up.
Oh no, the other reason I'm not showing up is because we have been very lucky in that my mom is taking the baby every Thursday night. So
Oh,
Thursday night has become date night. And I told my wife, hey, but every first Thursday, she goes, excuse me? And I
So
said, okay.
you can't get 1 out of 4? Gee.
Guys, if it's between my wife and date night and being with you guys,
I'm gonna have to talk to you.
I think the mother-in-law wants another grandchild.
yeah, pretty much. All right, get out of here. Get out of here, you little scamp.
so and are you in your new house already?
Yeah, we're at the new house. We moved in right before Christmas, like 2 days before Christmas. And it's great. I mean, we still have a lot of things to do. I mean, every weekend I got a very long honey-do list.
Honeydew.
Yeah.
Like,
I was running a little late because my wife's like, honey, you need to do the pool. And I said, okay. But yeah.
Great. So nice. Good. Congratulations.
Thanks.
It's beautiful.
Wait a minute, what are we congratulating?
What did you
I don't know.
Oh,
My house?
yes, it's beautiful. If you guys haven't been there, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. They did a good job.
I'm curious about his shop. It's
Getting there. I have my table. I have my table saw set up. Next is the bandsaw. I have to order parts for it, and then I bought Ozzy's planer, which is nice,
Good.
and it works really nice. And I'm getting there. They just painted the garage last weekend, so everything's in disarray again.
Are you gonna paint the floor?
No.
You might want to consider the epoxy paint, but just
Really?
while everything's
Well, I was
kind
planning to put like foam all over the floor, like for like fatigue mats and things like that. Oh, hold on, she's taking the garbage, guys. I'm gonna tap out because my wife's taking care and she's looking at me. Yeah, I gotta go.
Time to go.
Although I do miss you guys. You know, and I'm looking at you, Ralph.
Well, you know where I'm at.
I'll see you guys later.
All right, good seeing you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Saul.
Hey, I've got to tap out as well. The grandkids are visiting and they're getting ready to leave. So thank you. And Ralph, wonderful demo.
Thank you. Thank you. So,
So I'm going as well. Bye,
okay,
everybody.
I'm
Have a
gonna
nice
go ahead and
weekend.
shut this thing down.
All right.
Hey, Ralph.
Ralph, thanks again.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Ralph.
you're
Thanks.
welcome.
Thanks,
About
Ralph.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, see you all at the next one.
Hey, Ralph,
Yes.
talking about the bandsaw. My dad has to buy a new belt for the bandsaw.
New belt. Belt or a new blade?
Belt.
A new belt.
It's going to be threaded.
Oh, okay. Well, they do that over time.
Yep. That's why it's not working.
Oh, okay. All right.
Ralph, thank you.
You're welcome, everybody, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Thanks, Ralph.
Go ahead and
Yes.
shut this thing down.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Yeah, everybody.